This is the In Focus podcast from The Hindu.
Hello and welcome to the Hindus in Focus podcast with me, Amit Barua, your host for this episode. The BJP-led coalition government has lifted the ban on government employees taking part in activities of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh or RSS, an organization which has been banned 3 times since India attained independence. The RSS was banned days after Gandhiji's assassination by Nathuram Godse in 1948, during the emergency by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, and under civil society pressure after the demolition of the Babri Masjid in December 1992. Interestingly, the restriction on central government employees associating with the RSS remained in force during the first 2 terms of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and under Atal Bihari Vajpayee during his 1998 to 2004 terms. So the question that arises is, why now? Is Modi trying to appease the RSS after facing an electoral setback? Didn't RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat indirectly poke fun at Modi, saying he wasn't biological during the recent election campaign? Does this decision have anything to do with what appear to be efforts to remove Adityanath as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh? To answer these questions, I'm delighted to have with me again Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, columnist and author who has long tracked the trajectory and politics of the RSS and the BJP. Welcome to the In Focus podcast, Nilanjan.
Thank you, Amit. It's always a pleasure to speak to you on this platform and even other ways.
Nilanjan, tell me the question that I posed in my little introduction. Why has this decision, been taken now?
Well, obviously, the answer lies in your question. Yes, the BJP is definitely trying to win over, appease, woo, whichever word we can use either of these words, the RSS once again. This entire decision actually has to be taken in the context of a fairly turbulent phase of relationship between the RSS and the BJP, starting with the post-Ram Mandir consecration period. Till the time of the Ram Mandir consecration, when the RSS leader, Mohan Bhagwat, had been given an equally prominent space. But thereafter, what happened is that the RSS did not approve of the personalization of the entire political campaign, as a result of which the RSS by and large stayed away from the electoral campaign. I remember one of the informal conversations which I was having with somebody who is a fairly influential person within the RSS network. I had said, that purely out of personal experience, that nobody from the RSS had come to our house to seek votes like they had come over the last few elections. So I posed the question that why have you not come? Why have your people not come? So the gentleman told me that, भाई मोदी जी ने गारंटी ली है तो मोदी जी जिताएंगे, हम क्यों जिताएं? हमको तो कहा नहीं गया है. So it obviously indicated that this was the closest that they would actually come to say that we have nothing to do with the electoral campaign. The first phase of elections on the 19th of April, immediately after that, we saw Mr. Modi go back onto his familiar template of widening communal polarization in the country, trying to polarize people on the basis of religious identity with that statement that in his speech in Rajasthan, in Banswara, where he said that the Congress is going to take away the wealth of the poor people and distribute it to those who have more children, meaning Muslims. So it was a straight ring to what he had said in 2002 during that very infamous communally polarizing campaign of Gujarat, which actually set Mr. Modi on the path of becoming what he is today, often been called as Mr. Polarizer. So the RSS, immediately after the elections, the first reaction, if you remember, Mohan Bhagwat was asked, he said that a true sevak, should not be arrogant. He also said that elections is a competition, it's not a war, Also said that it is very wrong to present the opposition as a Virodi. Instead, he used the word pratipaksh, which means some kind of a counterbalancing force in a democracy. He also talked about the fact that parliamentary decorum must be maintained all the time. Now, these were all very nuanced digs at the BJP and Mr. Modi personally. And it got repeated in what you said very recently. There is this new trend which has started where people start imagining that they are gods, they are highly spiritually gifted people, etc., etc. And Mr. Bhagwat went on for quite a length, and then eventually concluding by saying that अब भगवान बन गए हैं अपने आप को, तो आगे और क्या होता है देखिए. So Mr. Modi has already declared himself to be a non-biological person, which means that he is obviously he looks at himself as some kind of a godly figure. And this is not the only time, even during the last year when the Women's Reservation Bill was passed, Mr. Modi made the statement that God had chosen him to pass this bill. I remember, when I was working on his biography, and in one of our conversations, I had asked him a particular question, that how did you reach a particular decision? I mentioned a particular decision which he took, which was quite surprising at that time. So instead of answering the question, he said that मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे पास God's gift hai. So looking at himself as something beyond ordinary humans is something which has been there for him for a long time. We can actually look back in the last 10 years, you will find that lots of things. He said it on several occasions. Obviously, the RSS is angry. The BJP cannot be very comfortable with the continued anger and the indifference of the RSS. So this decision to remove this order, take back the order which was passed during Indira Gandhi's time, right after she became the Prime Minister, is obviously aimed at appeasing the RSS. The question, however, is that has it? No, it has not. Because Mr. Bhagwat's second statement, in which he's talking about the claims of Mr. Modi of being a non-human person, were made after the passage of this order. It's a different thing that it got reported in the media just 2 days back. But if the government passed the order on the 9th of July, I'm sure that they have channels of communicating to the RSS. They would have definitely let them know that we have already lifted the restriction on government employees participating in RSS shakhas. That still has not won the RSS over. So Mr. Modi will have to do much more, and that much more will be that he has to bring about a basic change in those aspects of his personality, which is actually upsetting the RSS.
You think that, but do you think, Nilanjan, that's possible? Because we've seen Mr. Modi's style. You've given examples in the past also, where he has spoken of his powers and so on and so forth. So do you think it is fundamentally possible for Mr. Modi to reorient himself?
The basic divergence between the two is that for Mr. Modi, the individual is supreme, the organization is secondary. As far as the RSS is concerned, the Sangathan is more important at a higher pedestal than the Vyakti. The RSS is fundamentally opposed to Vyakti Pujan or hero worshipping. Mr. Modi is committed to it. The entire campaign, the entire government is actually Modi's government. Even now, Mr. Modi in his speeches, even after running a coalition government where his party does not have a majority, even now he talks in the third person in his public speeches. This shows the centrality of he himself within his political world space.
So what happens now? I mean, going ahead, you rightly pointed out, when this order rescinding RSS participation by civil servants was issued and when it came to light. So what happens now? I mean, the power balance, it appeared in the last 2 terms of Prime Minister Modi, had shifted decisively in favor of Mr. Modi. But now it seems that there is a big pushback from the RSS. And interestingly, the pushback comes in the wake of the electoral reverse suffered by the BJP. So, how does this balance of power play itself out in the months and years ahead, Nilanjan?
The pushbacks started becoming obvious, although it was not being written very much during the electoral process, not after the 4th of June. It became visible fairly early. Some people started talking and writing about it. I wrote a couple of pieces that the RSS does not seem to be very much involved in the electoral campaign, that the turnout was low because the foot soldiers of the RSS were not going from home to home, trying to mobilize people to come out and vote. There was a fair amount of voter apathy, which the RSS was not trying to counter. So all that was visible even before the 4th of June. It just got confirmed and became visible after Mohan Bhagwat started making the statements. The first one being where he talked about that a true sevak is not supposed to be arrogant and that elections are just a competition. It's not a war, and that you have to respect the Pratipaksh also, and making various things, saying, not mincing words, that the RSS was not happy with several methods and the several style which Mr. Modi adopted during the campaign.
So, what happens to the power balance, Nilanjan? The equation between the BJP and the RSS, or Mr. Modi and the RSS?
Yeah, we have already started getting a glimpse of what might come ahead. During the controversy over the NEET entrance exams, when there was a lot of public protestations by the students, there were some agitations. At that point, quite against the grain of how they have acted in the last 10 years, the members of the ABVP, the Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, which is the RSS affiliate of the students' body, and a few other academic organizations, those which work among academicians and are active within the field of the academia, they were among the people who went to the education minister and submitted memorandums, and also released it to the press, and even spoke to the press saying that action should be taken. The government cannot keep on sitting and doing nothing. Now, in the last 10 years, we had never seen an occasion where any of the RSS affiliates, which are active in various sectors, be it students, be it teachers, be it trade union, be it the farmers organizations, at no point was there any attempt to go and get the government to take back any particular decision or apply any kind of pressure. The fact that the RSS affiliated ABVP went this time, and several other organizations also went, I think a discreet message has gone to the affiliates that it is now time for all of you to also look at your specific sectoral interests. Like the ABVP has to be very conscious of the fact that in order to retain their support among students, they must articulate the grievances of the student. The same thing would be expected from the BMS, the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, that any time the working class feels agitated about certain things, the BMS has to articulate those positions. Otherwise, then the workers are going to start moving to other trade unions. Likewise, in the Kisan Sangh, they were not backing at all the farmers' agitation, which happened, in 21-22. But if there is any repeat of farmers' agitations, the Kisan Sangh has to step in and at least share the views of the agitating farmers. Now, if they share it with the agitating farmers or with the agitating students, obviously the government will be ruffled a bit. So I think that the era of some kind of resistance from within the RSS, the ecosystem, has started. How much of it is going to be very difficult to say at the moment. Whether this is actually going to derail the government, very difficult to say, maybe not. But the point is that there will be pressure to take corrective steps from within the Sangh Parivar. That can be safely said. That it is no longer going to be the Gandhiji's three monkeys within the Sangh Parivar. They're all going to speak. They're going to have their eyes and ears open.
Nilanjan, historically also, the RSS has always seconded one of its, favorite pracharaks to be the organizing secretary in the BJP. And we know from the time that Deen Dayal Upadhyay occupied that post, there were stresses and strains with the leadership of the BJP. Do you think that kind of era where the RSS is again going to assert itself, again try to become the prime mover, again try to stress that as you said on occasion, that the organization is more important than the individual? Do you think we are going to see a return to that kind of an era?
Very difficult, because Mr. Modi's personality is such that he has to change the party president. JP Nadda cannot be holding two posts. That is not the tradition of the BJP.
Which he hasn't done so far.
He has not done so far, but Amit Shah had also formally continued to be the party president till January 2020, even though the fact is that Nadda had already been, his election had been announced. He had not taken formal charge till that time. Amit Shah remained the de facto party president till the whole of 2019, after he became the Home Minister also. So the same thing can happen, but the process of the election of a new president has not been started. So it has not been started because I don't think that Mr. Modi has been able to take a decision. There is certainly a kind of ambiguity they do not know, and I don't think anybody really knows it, even within the RSS. It would not be known that to what extent would the RSS leadership pressurize the BJP to have a person as president who is to their liking. Who is the person it is going to be? So that is going to a great extent be demonstrating, as to what kind of a relationship would be there between the RSS and the BJP, and to what extent would the RSS, control the BJP, if I can use the word control. If it is going to be obviously, somebody like somebody of Mr. Modi's choice, and obviously the RSS is not going to be having much control over the BJP. So there is a struggle going on. Let's see how it actually turns out to be.
So picking up on that struggle, Nilanjan, there appears to be another struggle going on, and this is in UP, politically the most significant state of India. And we see of late BJP MLAs, BJP ministers, speaking about the issues that dog the BJP in Uttar Pradesh. These statements are a bit forked. They're not clear, but they have come from many people, including the Deputy Chief Minister Maurya. So what is your sense? If there is a struggle going on in the BJP, is it the idea to replace Yogi Adityanath? Is it the idea of sending Adityanath to Delhi? What is your sense? What do you make of all these reports and all these signals that are coming from Uttar Pradesh?
When we talk about Uttar Pradesh and the BJP specifically within Uttar Pradesh and the relationship between the UP Chief Minister and the national leadership, we have to keep one thing as a steady factor right from 2017 onward, when Yogi Adityanath became the Chief Minister. And this is a fact that initially Yogi Adityanath was not Mr. Modi or the central leadership's choice to be the UP Chief Minister. They had wanted Mr. Manoj Sinha to be the UP Chief Minister. In fact, there were reports at that time that he was already all packed up and ready to go when the sudden maneuver, which was reported at that time, pressure came essentially from Nagpur to have Yogi Adityanath as the Chief Minister because of his popularity and because of the fact that they also felt in 2017, at which time Mr. Modi had not been able to completely dominate the RSS. It was still a fairly equal relationship. So the RSS wanted to prop up somebody who could be a countervailing force to Mr. Modi, and that was Yogi Adityanath. Even though the fact is that Yogi Adityanath is not originally from the RSS fold. He is actually a Hindu Mahasabha product, from the Gorakhpur Peeth, the Gorakhdham Peeth, from there it starts. And even his, guru, his spiritual guru, Mahant Adityanath, and even the one prior to that, Mahant Digvijayanath, they're all from the Hindu Mahasabha and separate from the Jansangh in the initial years and from the BJP subsequently. It is only through the Ram Janmabhoomi agitation that Mahant Adityanath joined the BJP and left the Hindu Mahasabha. And in the same way, Yogi Adityanath also got drawn into the BJP. So despite the fact that he was from outside the RSS fold, he was propped up and he was made the chief minister. So since then, there has been this constant unspoken competition between Delhi and Lucknow. We saw during COVID large number of posters all over Delhi, which had UP chief ministers face painted on bus stands, walls everywhere. Delhi didn't like it, so they sent a message that please take them off. And soon you found that along with Yogi Adityanath, you also had photographs of Mr. Modi on those advertisements. Same thing happened with a full-page advertisement of a newspaper which was hastily pulled out. So there have been these occasions where we have seen that Yogi Adityanath has worked at cross purposes, tried to promote his independent identity. It was visible even during the 2022 assembly elections, but eventually Yogi Adityanath realized that on his own he would not be able to get re-elected. So that is why he yielded space to Prime Minister Modi. But, even through this entire campaign, you could actually make out whenever Mr. Modi would take out, road shows through any city of Uttar Pradesh, be it Varanasi or not, in the vehicle where Mr. Modi would be there, it was very clearly, designed in a way that Mr. Modi would be standing on a higher pedestal than Yogi Adityanath, who in any case is fairly short and stocky. So the issue, what was attempted was that he is dwarfed by Mr. Modi, and that was the political messaging which was being sent out. Now that the UP result has not been favorable, and in fact is the primary reason as to why the BJP is short of a majority is because of the performance in UP. Now, in UP, everybody knows that the candidate selection was done by Mr. Modi and his close loyalists. The UP chief minister felt that he did not have any say in the selection of candidates. And there were reports during the campaign, I personally couldn't go out and actually verify these, that he was there in the campaign, but not putting his heart and soul into it. So somebody has to be, made the fall guy. Somebody has to be said that you have to take the blame. So best is that central leadership obviously will not say that we made an error. Our candidate selection was wrong. Whereas Akhilesh Yadav really scored by, reaching out to the EBCs and giving maximum representation to them. So obviously the idea is to apportion blame to Yogi Adityanath and get him out. So you also have some kind of a reason found as to why the BJP has not been able to get a majority once again. And secondly, you also get somebody who has been a fairly constant troublemaker within the party out.
Because it looks as if that after Narendra Modi, Adityanath is perhaps the most important campaigner for the BJP.
Well, whenever they require him, only when they have to show themselves as a very Hindu-centric party, Hindutva-centric party. But in a coalition, I do not see Yogi Adityanath getting very open space in states outside Uttar Pradesh. I do not think that Yogi Adityanath would be, welcome to campaign in Bihar or Andhra Pradesh or anywhere, any of the states where the allies are fairly significant.
So, what is your sense? I mean, just to wrap things up, Nilanjan, what is your sense that Yogi Adityanath will resist any effort to say move him to Delhi?
Of course, the decision of the UP government the directive to all these stall keepers in the Kamaria route to display their name was essentially that he was moving to the consolidating his position on the extreme right flank of Uttar Pradesh. So it is obviously a move to resist being shifted to Delhi. He is going to fight tooth and nail to be moved out of Uttar Pradesh. If the central leadership of the BJP, Mr. Modi and his loyalists, if they still want to move him out from Lucknow, I really do not know what strategy they are going to follow or adopt.
Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, thank you so much for talking to the Hindus in Focus podcast. We're going to be in touch with you, to figure out, how this evolving dynamic between the RSS and BJP works, where the balance of power lies, and what happens in India's all-important state of Uttar Pradesh. Thank you again for talking to us.
Thank you. Thank you, Amit.
In Focus will be back soon with analysis of the biggest news issues. In the meantime, you can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and other platforms. Just search for In Focus by The Hindu. We'll see you soon.